What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Business and Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Dean, and in this episode we have an absolute powerhouse. It's Erez Naveh, who is the head of product at Facebook and currently working on a product called Untitled. We don't get to discuss too much about that. You'll hear why. It's fairly confidential, but nonetheless, he gives us some absolute great advice when it comes to the two real quintessential policies that they have at Facebook. One pertaining to their vision and mission statement, why they do what they do, and essentially why they've changed their algorithm recently that's more geared towards family, friends, and community over just straight advertising revenue. So he goes into a little bit of detail on that. And secondly, he goes through a policy and process that they implement at Facebook that would really help a lot of people I know in Australia. It's a really good organizational management process that keeps the company all aligned each week. So I'll let Erez explain that in some more detail. It's a great episode, really straight to the point, quite quick, and with some great information. So make sure you pay attention. This episode itself is brought to you by Social Growth Media. If you want to go and grab some free resources to help you with your business and marketing efforts online, make sure you head over to www.socialgrowthmedia.com/resources to pick up some nice free stuff to help. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into this episode with Erez Naveh, the head of product at Facebook Tel Aviv, Israel, in charge of the Untitled project.
So I wrote a few things that I wanted to talk about because I read what you wrote about like your profiles and what you do and stuff. And I thought, like, in few minutes that we have, what can I tell that will make some impact and maybe help you in your way. So I was running my own companies for 17 years before this gig, and I think that the two things that I would take and change the way that I acted like before and run my own companies was be driven by impact, which is what we do here. But in order to know what the right impact is, you need to have a clear vision. And it's hard to explain because it sounds unreal, what I'm about to say. But once the vision is very clear and everybody is aligned to the vision and all the team is measured based on impact, there is no negotiation, there is no fighting, there is no arguing, there's only a clear goal to go and conquer and achieve it. So what do I mean by that? If we have, let's talk about the Facebook mission, okay? So that's something that management is talking about and articulating in a very clear manner, and they have this one-liner, right? Now it's something about forming communities, and it sounds like, okay, so why did I work for a month or two about only on this small sentence? Because now that's the vision, and that's how we'll measure impact. All the things that we do will be measured based on this one sentence. Did we make something move in that direction? That's it. So once we have this sentence and we know that we need to move the needle in that direction, everything that we do, every single project that every developer in the company will take, he will ask himself, do I make an impact? Because at the end of the quarter or half, I'll be measured and my own salary and promotion and everything will be impacted by the impact that I make, and the impact is toward that vision. So if the vision is very clear to everybody and explained, and that's how you measure the performance of the company, that's it. That solves 90% of the issues. Right. And my previous companies, as VP product, I had to explain each task, each project. I had to work on documentation and design and give it like to the developers. You know, the file is ready, here you go, let's talk about it. Let's see that it's clear, that you understand everything. Here I have maybe half a line or one line, like a sentence of what the project is about, the impact that is related to that project, and the developer will do the effort estimation, and he will look at the priorities and the impact that each project is expected to make, and he will choose the project, and he will take the project, and he will make the design, because he will be measured by it. He will invite everybody to the room to do a design review of the project, and he will drive the project from A to Z. I'm just there to unblock stuff, work with legal, do all kind of stuff, but he's managing the project. Okay? Because that's how we measure him, by impact.
Yeah. That's such a big difference from the way
That's a huge difference. Huge difference. So that's one. The other thing, which is more tactical, is HPM. So we have this document that we write, which is HPM. It's highlights people meet. Each week, at the end of the week, each team writes this document and circulate it to a newsletter to subscribers. That it's like pumps up the chain. So I write HPM for Onavo, which goes to Growth Infra, which is the umbrella of what we do, and my manager will take the HPMs and write one that's for the whole group, and this goes to Growth, and Growth goes.
That's great.
This is how the entire company is updated on highlights, on the people, and me is like, it can be anything, but it should be personal. Like what I did or what I plan to do next week. And it sounds like, why are you investing this effort into just documenting the highlights? But as I said, we measure the impact of the entire team by the individuals, by their impact. How do we log this impact? This is how we log the impact. As a PM, I had 27 peer reviews to write at the end of the half, which is a lot. I couldn't remember what all the team did, what each individual did, so I had to go back, look at the HPM, look what each one did, and highlights will actually follow up on projects and their impact and what metric was shifted, like, and by how much. And I think the equivalent for a startup will be the connection, the relationship with the investors. So if the relationship with the investors is once a quarter, that's one type of relationship. And if it's once a week and you have this forcing function that keeps you sharp and keep you on focus on what you need to do, and you know that you're about to report it each week, you act differently.
Instead of just hiding for a while,
yeah, we just hit this huge bump on the road and I don't want to report it. No, you should report it each week. You should report the bad stuff, you should report the good stuff, you should have like highlights, lowlights, progress in this report. And it's a really, really important forcing function for you to measure the team progress, to measure the startup progress. And looking back at it and saying, oh, this is what I did like months ago, half a year ago.
It's very easy to forget how much you've achieved.
Yeah.
How long would that document usually be?
Depends on the team. We have a large team, so it's like a one-pager.
Yep.
But it can be less. Yeah, we have like...
It can be too much because if you want to go...
Yeah.
It
should be, yeah. And if you have a lot to say, it can't be all highlights.
Yeah.
So highlights and progress, you can write a lot, but highlights is very short. It's like 5 bullet points.
Yep.
And all of this stuff that's written down, is it collected and collated as like a big data store somewhere? Like is
No. There is a tool for that. There is a tool for anything in Facebook, and even 2 tools that do the same thing from different teams. But no, just an email.
Okay.
I write it like this Google Doc. We have our own Google Doc, like Quip. But I log it there, but you can do in just an email. And our team is split into like 5 teams. So each one of the team leads writes their own HPM to me by like 4 o'clock. I'll get it, I'll write the summary again, and my manager, and this is how the entire company is kept updated on things.
Big company.
Yeah.
Can you maybe tell these guys a little bit about Unavo? So the reason Facebook is here, they brought Unavo, and based on that, they opened the R&D center here.
Yeah. Basically, I can't say a lot.
Yeah, but
Because Unavo is like special that way. We do market intelligence, and that's it.
that's all you need to know. Need to know basis, as they say. How many years? About 3 years ago, right? Maybe?
4 years.
4 years ago.
Yeah. Got acquired, and the founder, that Guy Rosen, is now managing Protect and Care, which is like maybe 4,000 people now.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's VP of Protect and Care, which is all about saving people in real time when they talk about suicide or live video with stuff. Yeah, they are doing amazing things like cutting the time to response in a live video, which is really hard to do, where you see violence and stuff, from few hours to 9 minutes, or to detect suicide by understanding with machine learning all that's said in all the languages in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a huge team.
And it's a huge responsibility as well.
Yes, and we take it very seriously.
Yes.
Very seriously.
Yeah, wow.
Not a lot of people know that, like, it's a platform, but people actually care about what's going on the platform. And and it's a huge investment.
Is there any Instagram related divisions here?
Not here, no. Mostly in New York.
Okay.
Instagram is mostly in New York.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your career and how you sort of got to this point?
So after the army, my friend told me there is this computer course that I'm going through. Maybe you'll join me. I joined him, and then I started computer science in the Technion, if you know, in Haifa. I'm from Haifa. And then I started this idea of a friend that had this crazy idea to do a startup, and I started like part-time, and it took all my time, and I left studies. Like,
Did you?
yeah, and that's it. From then, everything is black. 17 years later, I'm here. I did that for 7 years. I had this company that did all sorts of projects for many companies in Israel, and then created a gaming platform for multiplayer games. And it came to be like, we have several IPs that are quite big in like this niche. We have the largest backgammon game in the world, which is very popular here, but also in the US and Europe.
What's the process of applying to get employed here, or the criteria that they look for?
Depends on which role. Like, is it PM? Is it software engineer? Is it data scientist? Is it sales?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No idea. What about
But it's on the website.
It's on the website, man. You just apply.
How did you end up here?
Yeah, how did you end up?
It was funny. I did a lecture about product MVP, how to go from an idea to testing your idea, basically. And in the middle of the presentation, it was like a workshop, I got this email from a recruiter here saying, we saw that you have this portfolio, blah, blah, blah. We would like to talk to you about a position here. And I thought it was funny, and I showed it to the entire class. Look, Facebook is trying to... Like I'm in the startup world. I was with my startup, and I like what's going on. It's like, so I said no. And Joy, which is the manager of the site, the development, had the same company like I did at the same time to develop websites and apps and stuff like that. And he was also from the startup world. He had like everything me, which was 70 or 90 employees at the time. And he approached me and said, let's meet. And I said, okay. So I asked him, what are you doing here? Like, why are you in the corporate world, right? And he said, we are in Israel, we think that we are in like the major leagues in startups.
Yeah.
Like Israel, Tel Aviv, and Palo Alto and stuff, major league. But Facebook is the NBA. And he explained like what I just told you about the impact and stuff that doesn't sound real till you hit the floor and see that it's very real. Yeah. So I said, okay, what the heck? And no, I'll go through the interviews. I never did an interview before I went here. And then I Googled it, like how to prepare for an interview for Google and Facebook. And the first result was a 3 months plan how to, I had 3 days.
Wow.
A 3 months plan with an Excel and everything that you need to read and all the answers. And said, I can't do that. I just read like a bunch of questions and then I went with it. I said, I don't want a job, so...
But it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and then I got 6 interviews in a row here and passed them, and they flew me to San Francisco for another 6 interviews and then another one in VC.
Wow.
Yeah, PM.
In a VC? Oh, really?
Yeah, like I flew there for the weekend,
conference,
and at the end another one for leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, so 13 interviews.
And
And it was fun. It was really, really fun. Because I talked about stuff that I do, about product.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting with the PM. She was in charge of turning the like that used to be to all the likes that you have.
the live options, yeah.
And she asked me, like, how would you do that?
Oh.
Or, like,
What a cool question.
yeah, it's a cool question, right? So I had a blast and stuff like that. So in between the interviews, there is somebody that takes you, to drinks and to eat and stuff like that. And we were chatting, and at the end she said, I never met somebody that went through an interview and talked so much and was open. I said, yeah, I don't want a job, so normally you are frozen and you're nervous and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, obviously it worked. Oh. And you said your team was growing from 30 to 50 just this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So they that big tower, that twisted tower, there's Amazon's there, so Facebook also got a few things and a lot of VCs, so they're growing the team here, mostly on engineers.
Yeah.
So that's an issue with Israel now. Engineers, very hard, big competition.
But it's not only engineers. Our team is composed of many data scientists.
Data scientists, yeah.
Many, like 10.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously a lot of data.
Yeah. Many smart people, much more than I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Like, working with people that are smarter than you is the best way to grow.
Yeah.
So what's your role here, sorry?
Product manager.
Product manager.
That is, runs this massive team.
Yeah.
So the product is the team. Yeah.
I just need
You
work.
Yeah. It's like, I get all the blame and nobody reports to me.
We're in our last group when we were recently in San Francisco last month, describing a product manager. He said, you make everybody equally unhappy. Stakeholders. I don't know, would you relate to that at all?
Not really. I try to make my team happy and everybody else, I don't care.
Yeah.
I try to focus that the team will produce the work that they need. Like they set the goals, let's see the goals, and try to do it without like whipping them. Just working together, and that's it.
Yeah. How would you define the role for product manager? What
it really depends on the team. and the product. I think that half of what I do is actually business development and forming collaborations with companies outside of Facebook. Because the team is so good and the team leads are so strong. As I said, a project from my end can be a sentence and I just follow up and I don't need to be a babysitter. So I can focus on like stuff like biz dev and trying to make impact by myself basically. Because the team is making their impact. What can I do to multiply?
When you say impact, over the next decade, what do you see as the main industries that will be having the biggest impact on Facebook?
I think decade is way too long for this kind of industry. I don't know what will happen next year. Bitcoin fell 20% yesterday. So
I know.
will it recover? I hope not.
No, but same question, years time, 3 years time.
I think that there is a notion of trends, like is Facebook a trend, or is it the internet? Is it like the like air or electricity? And there is a risk, a big risk, that it's a trend, that people see it as a trend or treat it as a trend. And I think that we need to be focused on solving that and trying to adapt to everything that is happening all the time, which is hard for 30,000 people to do. I think that I would want to see Facebook succeed now that I know how much people here care and are responsible to what's going on inside the network. Like if the next MySpace, Facebook, whatever comes, like Google do no evil stuff, now that I know the people and management and how they actually really, really, really care, much more than anybody imagined, about everything that goes on. And just recently, I don't know if you noticed that we changed the news feed and just like lost 5% of the share and stuff like that. Because of that, nobody cared. You didn't see one note about the share or money and stuff like that. Nothing. One post about it. It's all about doing the right thing. That's it.
Even though all the advertisers are stressing out, right, Jackson?
Everyone's stressing.
Yeah. Changes to newsfeed and everything.
Yeah.
Every CPA went up basically, recently in my world, anyways. Like cost per acquisition went up. It's going to be harder.
But in the long term, you want to have this platform that is really easy to target, like Facebook.
Yeah.
And to keep that going, you need the people in it, our users, our people, to be happy and actually use it.
It's really interesting. It's,
you can't just squeeze the lemon all the time.
That's true.
So quite circular, isn't it? Like the welfare. It's almost like managing a country. Like
Yeah.
You manage the well-being of your citizens.
Really big one. It's 2 billion people.
It's huge.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Erez.
Thank you.
So there you have it, guys. There's Erez Naveh, the head of product at Facebook, Tel Aviv, Israel, dropping some really good knowledge for our group. I hope that helps you out quite a lot. The two main key takeaways are that obviously Facebook is now changed its metric of success. It's now driven by impact, or driven by building that social capital behind the Facebook community. It is quintessentially important to be able to achieve that. They have to have a very clear vision and measure the performance of their company off that vision. So their vision is to have that impact, and it's a very, very similar impact to mine right now. As you may or may not have listened to in my first podcast, my whole goal behind this is to get as much great free information out there to the small business owners and entrepreneurs of Australia to just help. My method of currency has changed. I've achieved quite a lot of the things that I've always wanted to achieve in business by what I've built and what I've achieved monetarily speaking, you could say. And now my currency has moved slowly but surely to more substantial, I guess, metrics. And mine is definitely that impact, that social capital that I'm building within the entrepreneurial community. It is such a more rewarding and fulfilling metric of success to align your true north with, and is a really big reason behind why you're listening to this podcast right now. So I really felt connected to what Erez was saying with that first message. The policy that he proposed, the HPM, that is a real game changer. I mean, it's a really good way, even if you're just starting out and you haven't even got a business yet. If you are starting that process of building a business, you should be doing that HPM each week and implementing that for yourself to keep yourself on track. Again, just to round that off, if you missed it, the HPM is highlights, progress, and then me. So a simple one-page document makes a big difference if you just fill it out once a week. It only takes 10 minutes. And it's something that we implement at Social Growth Media as well. We've got team members on the Gold Coast. We've got team members in Melbourne, Australia. We've got team members in the Philippines, over there in Angeles City. We've got team members over in Toronto, in Canada. We've got quite a big team, and it's very international. So having a document like that really helps me as an owner to understand where everyone is up to throughout their week, because I need to know, especially the me part. I like to see their highlights. I like to see everybody's progress, but most importantly, I really like to see how the person is doing behind the results, behind the campaigns, behind the screens that we are all behind every single week. So it's a really good insight as a business owner to know sort of an honest perspective of where your employees are up to and how they're feeling mindset wise, what they want to achieve, where they want to go, all those sort of things. And then as you go up, you get to understand what progress those employees have had for that week, and then what highlights they've had throughout that week, and how you can have more of those highlights in the future. So a really good process, a really good document to implement into your company. If you haven't got something like that already, I'd highly recommend it. It works a charm for Social Growth Media, that's for sure. I mean, other than that, capping off Erez's career, I mean, how amazing is it that, after 17 years of running his own company, then he gets the tap on the shoulder from Facebook, takes the initial interview that turns into 13 interviews. I mean, that is a arduous process, to say the least. And the fact that he made it all the way to the finish is testament to really how smart Erez is. And we spent a lot of time with him that day going around Facebook, looking at the Oculus Rift and a few of their other projects that were on a really cool day. But I guess as far as an episode goes, that is a great one to implement, a great one to execute. And I really hope that that helps you as much as it's helped our company. It's helped the entrepreneurs that we were there with in Tel Aviv, and how much it's helped Facebook grow into the biggest social network in the world. So Erez has got some great gold mines in there. I hope you implement them. To round it off, the podcast itself wouldn't be made possible without Social Growth Media and us funding this project so that we can get this information out there for you. It costs us a lot of money and time and effort and energy to get this information into your ears so that you can listen. So I would really appreciate it if this has helped you, that you'd share it with a friend, share it with a colleague, someone that might find this helpful as well. And if you can leave a rating and review just as some feedback, it really helps us on our end. And that is something that we are trying to grow quite quickly. So if you have any other feedback, feel free to hit me up on a direct message on Instagram. It's @JacksonDean1. And again, if you want to grab some of those free resources, feel free to head over to www.socialgrowthmedia.com/resources, and you can pick yourself up some freebies now. Other than that, guys, I will see you in the next episode of this Business and Travel podcast. My name is Jackson Dean. It's been a pleasure hosting you, and I will see you in the next episode.